Hello, my name is Small Crab and I'm a DJ and producer based in Dublin, and I produce mainly bass music. Usually it's going to be deciding on the BPM and then picking out a kick drum and then deciding on a kick drum pattern. So usually when I do my kick drum pattern, I go to kind of a BPM range that I like. At the moment, it's definitely kind of in the 90 to 100 BPM range. So I'm just going to change my BPM to that. And then I'm going to zoom into my sample and just look for a pattern that I really like. At the moment, it's kind of that dance hall-y kind of vibe that's going in the bass world. I think a good kick drum for me is a kick drum that is at the same time punchy but also has a more subby kind of heavy side to it. Obviously that can happen if you're layering two kick drums on top of each other, one that's more snappy and one that's just a little bit more on the low end of things. And I might just shorten the sample just so that I like it, and depending on also the length of the sample, because sometimes if the sample is too long, I feel like the kick is going to overshadow the rest of the drums. So I try to really shorten it just to kind of that punchy bit. And then I'm going to loop that, and that's going to be my drum kick pattern at the moment, which I'm going to be working on in the beginning of a track. Drum queen at the moment is Aisha, and my drum king I think is Rue. What I like about these producers the most is that their drums sound very organic, and I really like the sound that they go for. And I find that their drum patterns are usually very out there and creative, and even maybe patterns that I wouldn't have done because I'd be scared that people can't dance to it. I feel like that they can really break that barrier. Usually after I have decided on my kick and my BPM, I'm going to go and build a drum rack. And into the drum rack, I'm going to add my favorite samples of toms, hi-hats, claps, snares, everything that I'm really into at the moment. And I'm just going to try and create a few fun patterns. So I'll show you how I'm doing that at the moment. So usually what I do, I will just drag and drop an empty drum rack, and then I'm going to go into or the Ableton samples that I have available, or I will go into sample packs that I have acquired over time and saved into Ableton. It's something that I've only started doing really in the last year to get my own sample packs from the internet or friends or whatever. And I really feel like it's a really nice addition, especially if you're maybe not feeling creative, to have like new sounds to be playing around with. I think the Ableton drum rack feature is really amazing because it allows you to create your own drum rack, which is going to make your music unique to your own sound. It's also very freeing because it's much easier to create a pattern in a drum rack versus creating, I find, patterns in just empty audio channels or MIDI channels. I feel like it's much easier to like see a pattern if everything's together, and if you need to separate it, you can do that later as well. So I think the drum rack pattern, the drum rack option in Ableton is definitely something to be using. I think what defines my production are definitely the drums and the kind of very organic sounding textured drums. So everything from like toms, congos, and kind of very like eerie sounding drums. And percussion. So usually when I have kind of the backbones of a song, so the rhythm and the kick, I'm going to try and explore kind of what's going to happen in the rest of the song. Usually I try to build a very solid loop, an 8-bar loop of kind of the main section of the song. And then once I have that, so all the main elements and kind of all the important bits, I'm going to try and spread it out and kind of use it like little building blocks, and really try to see what's going to be in the intro, what's going to be in the first verse, what's going to be in the second verse, and kind of like how can I elaborate the main loop and make a song out of it. Okay, so this is the loop that I came up with. So basically what I did here is I have my kick drum going, as I have explained earlier, and then I have my drums that I made in the drum rack. And it's basically just like an assembly of different congos, rims, toms, kind of very organic sounding sounds that I found in the Ableton sample option. How do I break up the 4-bar loop? I think with some good delay and echo, even something that, as mentioned before, a grain delay I think is absolutely amazing, and all the different ones that Ableton has, because even if you're not breaking out of the 4-bar loop, it's going to give the impression that you're breaking out of the 4-bar loop. So this is the loop that I came up with. So So basically what I added, I have doubled the drum rack that I started on with in the beginning, and what I did is I EQ'd the low end of the first drum rack and just added some kick toner. So it's a grading delay to really add a little bit of texture and detail to it. So it's the same rhythm, but it just adds another layer to it basically. And then what I did, I used Serum to just do a basic drum line, and I added a vocal that I found in Ableton and added some low tone flutter and some low feedback to it to just really give it that spacey kind of vibe. And I added a clap for some detail as well. And that's everything. This has been Small Crab. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Yeah.